Alright, hey guys, what's up? I'm bringing you another Pro Dota commentary. This one is between Neolution and Mith-Trust. So, get ready for some, great games. These guys are really good teams. I've seen them play, and I'm pretty sure they won't be lagging this game like a couple of the games I've cast where, one or the other teams were lagging, and they were kind of disappointing. So, I love watching these, some games where lag is not an issue at all, which I believe this will be one of those. Actually, this is game two of this series that these two teams were playing in, and the reason I'm casting game two is because game one, Lakers, who is the carry player for Mith-Trust, actually dropped. And interestingly, he was also playing Morphling, and he was actually doing quite well in that game as well. So we might be seeing a respect band coming from Neolution. Already they were respect band. If you're looking over there, they were already respect band anti-mage. So you can see that clearly they don't want to. They respect that Lakers. He's just a really great farmer, and with the anti-mage, he's gonna be farming like a pro. And in addition, he can farm just as well on a Morphling. If last game is anything to judge by. But he wasn't actually playing Morphling for too long. But perhaps Neolution would just respect Banner because they realize that Mith-Trust aren't afraid to pick Morphling. But once you play one strategy in one game with one team, on the same day or same like tournament or whatever, same series, you might not want to pick the same hero again because you want to change up your strategy completely so that any pick bans, any bans that the other team might make as a preventive measure, won't be really effective. They'll just be wasting their bans and not really stopping you from doing what you want to do. Anyways, sort of a discussion of previous games and what's going on in the series. Let's talk a little bit more about what's going on right now in the pick and bans that are happening, and you'll see that Mith-Trust starting off the ban with an Invoker, and this is a very interesting ban. And actually, I have to say that Neolution started off a ban with an Invoker, and it's a very interesting ban. Neolution, generally bans this hero all the time. But also, Mith-Trust also bans this hero all the time. And, I suppose that Neolution were like, oh, we're not going to be using Invoker in this game. And generally, they don't really pick Invoker as far as I've seen. And Mith-Trust was like, they generally don't pick Invoker either. Perhaps their Invoker player isn't really totally up to snuff, as good as they would like him to be. Let me slow it down a little bit, because these guys are really, rushing through them. Because I had a 2x 11 minutes ago. I didn't even realize it. Anyways, so the thing is, generally the first three bands that Mith-Trust is always making in the games that I've seen them, play recently in the Guest IDC tournament, in a couple of other games that I've watched them play in, they're always banning these three heroes like Invoker, Batrider, Lycan. And over here you see that they banned Batrider and Lycan, but since Neolution banned Invoker for them, decide, oh, let's ban the Shadow Demon. He's a pretty imba hero, and the Pinoys love to pick him as a support. Neolution is not a Pinoy team, per se, but they play, very Pino-like style. They always bottle crowing. They pick heroes that are prevalent in the Pinoy metagame, and that sort of thing. Quap now isn't so much as a Pinoy metagame sort of pick right now. Nowadays, people have realized the power of Quap, especially because of Dota 2, and they pick Quap a lot more, and I feel like that's a good hero nowadays. I think the Chinese don't pick Quap so much, but the European teams and a lot of the other teams that I favor, that I like to watch and I enjoy seeing play. They pick Quap a lot, and she's a very fun hero to watch, especially if she succeeds, because she can go so many different builds, she can go so many different item strategies. That it's always one of the most exciting things I can watch in a Dota game. Anyways, let's discuss a little bit more about these bans and picks that are going on. So you can see the Neolution open up with Invoker, and then Mith-Trust were just doing the standard annoying ass hero bans like Lycanthrope, Batrider, and since they didn't have an Invoker, they banned Shadow Demon. And then Neolution banned as a respect ban the Anti-Mage, because Lake is so good with Anti-Mage, he farms so well with Anti-Mage. I'm sure whatever carry that Lakers plays this game is going to be, farming like a champ as well. And Neolution also banned the Broodmother, just another general ban that Neolution usually makes. She's a very annoying chase hero. You don't want to see her pushing down your axis. You don't want to devote a hero to like constantly stopping her. Perhaps you don't want to pick up an AoE hero that generally is like a direct counter her, like Darkseid or something. It's not fitting to the strategy right now, something of that sort. So of course you want to ban it because you don't want to deal with it. And then Neolution opened with an Earthshaker pick. Miggy plays a great Earthshaker, so I'm sure we'll be seeing him playing Earthshaker this game. And Mith-Trust actually started up their pick with Windrunner, and Windrunner let's discuss this a little bit as a first pick. Windrunner is a very powerful hero, and Luminous and everybody else, like a lot of the other cats, are always saying, Shaka's a broken skill, and that's being reflected in the fact that she's always being first pick. She's never really banned because most teams are like, there are all these other much more annoying heroes to ban, and so they feel like they can deal with it, but she's like, after you get rid of these annoying heroes, like these first 3 bans that you really want to get rid of at top, right? Initially, then maybe like you'll see Windrunner being banned in the second ban phase. But in the first ban phase, in the first pick phase, you usually see somebody always first picking that Windrunner up, because the other team will probably pick him up, because Windrunner doesn't really give away your strategy. She doesn't give away your laning generally. You can put her in mid, you can put her in the long lane, etc., that sort of thing. So, and she gives you so much laning power. So it looks like Mith-Trust, judging on the other picks that they're also going for, are going for a bit of team fight, and they just pick up that Windrunner to just like hide what their rest of their strategy might be. And Neolution followed up the Earthshaker with the Quap pick, which is a very interesting pick, especially if you pick it up early on, because then Mith-Trust can generally counter it, because Quap, very fragile hero. She's dependent on her blink for a lot of her survival. So if you get some heroes to really disable her and kill her, so you can easily counter her. She's very counterable. That's probably why she isn't such a prevalent pick in the Chinese scene, because those guys just really hard counter her. They'll get a lion, they'll get a shadow shaman, they'll take her down. So but still, Neolution feels like they can pull it off, and that's a good choice always. And then Mith-Trust followed up with a Panda pick. Now that is a very good pick, I'd have to say, because chasing hero should be chasing everybody down, and it adds a significant amount of team fight, but it also adds a limit, and I'm sure Neolution probably realizes this, that Mith-Trust is going to be highly dependent on, if they look at all the other heroes that Mith-Trust has, they're going to be highly level dependent on a lot of the heroes. Like, just look at the teams that Mith-Trust has assembled over here. They've got a Panda, they've got a Destroyer, they've got an Enigma. You can see they're clearly going through the team fight. These guys all are going to require level 6 to start being super effective. And I mean, like, Destroyer doesn't really need level 6 to start being effective, but it's nice if when you go into a team fight, you have that Sanity's Eclipse, and you can see what their plan is. They're planning for the Enigma. We'll probably be seeing Enigma trying to rush a quick Blink Dagger, so you can blink in. Panda's probably going to be rushing a Blink Dagger as well, so he can blink in. So these guys are all going to blink in, get a nice Black Hole, get a nice clap, Thunderclap, Panda Ultimate, and then a Sanity's Eclipse to fall off, as in the Destroyer, 4-steps in or walks in or whatever he does. And Neolution is gonna be hard pressed to kind of counter that team fight. But if I saw them pick up a Panda, I'd be like, oh, okay, so maybe we should be getting some laning dominance, so that we can slow down his level 6, get our team to have a bit of an advantage. And that's another reason that a lot of teams pick Windrunner, because she is such a good long lane solo. If you play her well, if you have a good player who's a little bit careful, that Windrunner is not going to be going down. And side lane solos, I cannot emphasize how important side lane solos are in today's metagame. The side lane solo can pick up some critical items that can help out your team. They can pick up a quick arcane boot, always keep your mana up. Right now Mith-Trust won't need that because they have the Destroyer. They won't be too hard pressed for mana, because you'll constantly have the Essence Aura. If he levels it up initially, especially, you constantly have the Essence Aura really powering up all your mana. And I suppose that is what can empower the Panda to go and get rush a Blink Dagger, the Enigma to go and rush a Blink Dagger, because they won't be hurting too much for mana with the Destroyer hanging around and giving them a lot of that Essence or mana bonus. But going back to what Neolution probably started thinking about, as soon as they saw the Panda pick, was, oh, maybe we should go for laning dominance. And you can kind of see that Neolution had a plan. They wanted to pick CK, and because they picked AA next, and I have to say that Earthshaker, AA, and CK are just such a strong combo, and so that's what they wanted to do, because I've seen so many games where they pick the classic CK AA combo. You need just those two, and if you throw in an Earthshaker as well, you're guaranteed kills. I mean, it's like before, you used to have like a guaranteed kill lane. It used to be like you got Sylvan, Lina, and Visage, and that was like a killing lane. And now you have just AA and CK, you'll have a killing lane. But you can also have an Earthshaker, you can just guarantee kills. With an Earthshaker on top, there's just no way the other team is going to survive unless they just don't hang out in lane at all and let you push down their tower. So that was they kind of telegraphed their picks when they, Earthshaker, Miggy, they didn't really telegraph what was going to happen. But as soon as that AA came out, by the way, I think 808 is probably going to be playing that AA. 808 is a very great support player for the Neolution side. He's always playing AA. I've seen him play AA in a couple games for them. So, basically the support heroes, have been fleshed out. So now they're only going to be going for carries at this point. And that's why Mith-Trust was like, oh, they have AA, they have ES. We should probably ban the CK. And, I'm surprised that they actually pick up the QoP so early. I mean, Mith-Trust, I've seen a couple of their ban phases, and against Pinoy teams, they generally do. I've seen them generally banning the QoP. So, I can see, oh, they really wanted to get that QoP into their lineup. And so, they figured they probably won't ban the CK. They didn't ban it yet. So, they didn't pick it up. But when you pick up the ES and when you pick up the AA so early, you're kind of telegraphing that you might be going for a CK, you might be going for a DK, because those two heroes combo so well with those guys. And you can kind of see the logic lines that these guys were following when they picked and banned like they did. So, and then they also banned the Syllabare and the Morphling. They're probably respect bans for late kids. They don't want him getting, Morphling was definitely a respect ban, especially because of last game. And Syllabare, it's like you just don't want to deal with that. And, I've seen Stars Boba really pull off some great tanking tactics with that Syllabare. So you can see why they banned this. If you looked at those games, you can see why they banned that Syllabare, because he's just very annoying. Even though he's been slightly nerfed with that, the blink nerf on this bear, but he's still a very powerful hero if he gets his farm on and if you can get that radius rush on. So, and especially since Neolution hasn't exactly made a pushing team per se. Quab has some nice AoE, but it's not like super pushing ability on the Neolution side. I mean, the Slaughter gives a lot of pushing power to the Neolution, because he can just charge and scare other heroes away, and he can tank it up for the rest of the team. And in that way they can push, but they don't have like tower pushing down abilities per se on the Neolution team. So I guess that's another reason why they banned the Syllabare, because they don't have the power to push down the enemy team's Raxes before that Syllabare gets a Radiance. And by the time he gets a Radiance and you don't have Raxes down, then that Syllabare is guaranteed to get a couple of your towers, and he's gonna be guaranteed to start spiraling out of control. So that's another reason they probably banned that Syllabare. And so let's discuss a little bit more about I've already gone over the Mith-Trust team. Basically, they have a lot of team synergy going. They have a lot of team fight going on. So once they hit level 6, we're going to be looking to see some great team fights coming out of them. But Neolution, they have a lot of lane dominance. They have a lot of early lane dominance. AA gives a lot of early lane dominance. That Weaver is going to be really hard to kill. He's another very comparable pick to the Windrunner, and I don't see too many hard disables on the Mith-Trust side. Let's continue the game at this point while we discuss a little bit more about what the picks and bans so far. And let's also discuss who is on what hero. Over here we had Sue playing the Weaver, GG is on the Slaughter, Tifa is on the QoP, AA is on 808 is on the AA, and Miggy is on the ES. Whereas on the Mith-Trust side, we have Tuba on the Panda, CM is being played by Triffy, and Enigma is being played by Tanks. Lakis is playing the Destroyer, and Trinu is playing the Winner. So nice animation cancel on that Slithering Crush by Slaughter. So anyways, like I said, Neolution really, even though they're a Thailandese team, they love going Pinoy strats. You can see from they got 2 couriers, so they're going to be going bottle crowing in this game. And I'm a little bit troubled about these Mith-Trust lanes. I have to say that Panda is probably going to have the CM support. It looks like she might be roaming around mid and top. Enigma's going to be hanging out in the jungle. But I have to say, just the CM against Weaver, it's going to be a little bit hard to keep this Weaver down. Whereas just the AA and the Slardar, they can almost guarantee a cold feet proc on the Windrunner, and then the Windrunner is probably going to be going down. So this is a much more powerful dual lane, than the CM Panda lane, especially if the CM is going to be roaming around like this. She got a nice 3D rune early on, nice ward over. She put a ward over here, getting some helping protect her OD. And ES looks like he's going to be hanging out over here with the Weaver, supporting it a little bit, maybe heading on down bot as well. Looks like CM already put down 2 wards, a ward over here and a ward over there, so they're keeping an eye on this ES and where he is. They really want to keep Lakers safe, you know, and you know, and well, you should, because he farms so well. If he can get some nice support going on, he's a great laner, you know. I really like admire his play from what I've seen of him. So right now, you know, Panda, he's not going to be in too much trouble against the Weaver, especially at a level 1 Weaver. So I have to say, you know, good choice by the Scourge team. You know, they let that CM go down here, maybe just in case, hang out over here in case the Scourge side had decided to dual lane mid instead of sending the dual lane over here at bot against Winner. And Winner, you know, look, she's gonna take a lot of harass over here against just the A. He can just make her run back and get a couple of pot shots off by putting down a cold feed like right now. And you see she has to run back, and you know, he's still at full HP, and he can just drop down another couple of hits, and he'll win this right click fight no problem. And over here, you know, the ES, now that he's hanging out here and supporting, I think the CM is coming over. Yeah, she might be trying to do a pull. She has a nice double stack pull going on. And, you know, Panda, he's taking a lot of hits, but he's pretty tanky, so he can take it. Over here, Miggy has put down a nice supporting ward for that Weaver, so, you know, there won't be too much of a risk of the CM backstabbing and getting that Weaver killed. So even more support for that hard-to-kill Weaver. You know, it's going to be really difficult to kill him, whereas I'm a little bit worried for this Windrunner. You know, she should be careful. You know, the A, just one cold feed is still in crush, and, you know, she can easily go down. And it looks like Tifa's trying to go really aggressive. You know, I think he's going Shadow Strike, perhaps. Maybe it's just level 1 for the slow, I'm not sure. I'd have to check that. He's only level 2, so, you know, we'll be seeing if he's going to be maxing it pretty soon. Looks like he is going to be, Lakers is going to be going at a standard Astro Imprisonment Essence Aura build in the beginning. And looks like he threw down another Shadow Strike. What level is this? What level is this? It's level 1 Shadow Strike. And he's level 3, so, and you can see it looks like ES is roaming mid with an bot, with an Invis-Rune, and looks like he's trying to get off a Fisher Trap, and you know, that's going to guarantee a kill, especially with A doing a pull here. They're going to pull it down, and if Windrunner is not aware of what's going on, she's going to die. Meanwhile, Weaver, he's actually kind of free farming it up, I have to say, in comparison to the Windrunner. He's 5-2, whereas the Windrunner is only 4-3, so it's a little bit of a tough thing. And yeah, she realizes the ES is missing. You know, I'm pretty sure these wards saw him pick up that rune, and she's like, where is he? I don't know. You know, maybe is he hanging out over here to try to take out the Destroyer, who's actually doing a lot of that Astral Imprisonment spam. You know, getting up his int, and you know, looks like she's gonna go back. I don't know. She's a little bit worried. She's thinking about it, and we'll see what her choice is. And you know, depending on what she does, she might go down. She might live. I don't know. Yeah, see, he's constantly spamming it. And you know, we're still hanging out here. She's still worried about that ES. In Mith-Trust, it looks like right now he's hanging out over here in the shop. Whereas, yeah, A was in position just in case Windrunner had come out, but now he's going back over there getting those last hits on those neutrals. Enigma is doing a little bit of farm over here, whereas the Weaver has been sent back a little bit. There's a ward up there. And yep, looks like Windrunner finally taking the bait. She's going down. She's going around just to make sure. Check it out. There's an ES hanging around, but you know, the ES is over here, so that's not going to completely check it. And yeah, they realize that, you know, they got her now. They're coming in. Stardust sprinted, a Fisher Trap. ES is blocking now. They're right clicking her cold feet, and now they're gonna block her. She's not gonna get out of there. Yep, cold feet proc, a couple of right clicks. Who's gonna pick up that first blood? Miggy's gonna pick up that first blood, so we might be seeing a quick boots, or you know, he likes to go Soul Ring. Yep, looks like he's gonna be going Soul Ring this game, and it's a very interesting item choice coming from Earthshaker. I don't know why Miggy always goes Soul Ring. I mean, I guess it's a cheaper item than Arcane Boots, and you know, you can get a lot more mana quicker on the ES. Then, you know, especially since you have to, you know, the AA is like on double duty, pulling double duty, buying all these couriers for the team, like hardcore supporting. So for that Bottle Crow that these guys are going to be running. And Lake is sitting at 18-9 so far, just checking, doing a quick farm check on him, and while Tifa is only sitting at 12-2, so he's handedly winning that lane, level 5 on the co-op, and almost level 6 on the Destroyer, whereas the Weaver, he's having a bit of a difficulty against this lane, I guess, right now, because they have that Sentry Ward down, and they have another Sentry Ward threatening in this CM's inventory, and now, you know, just some Frostbite, right-click harass. Don't let him run away. Just get as much damage as you can on him. Yep, indeed, the Soul Ring is going to be almost finished on the ES, and I guess they're really prioritizing the mana on that ES because he's not really buying too many support items. I have to say, he's just roaming though. He's not farming there, and it looks like, yeah, he's going in for a little bit of support on that crop. She's taking a lot of harass from the Destroyer at this point. Meanwhile, Weaver, he's solved up. He's hanging back up there. He had 2 charges on that magic stick. CM is getting into position again. Maybe she has 1-1-1, maybe 2 levels of Frostbite. I'm not sure what she's leveling up at this point. They're not too afraid of a push, so Frostbite would be a good skill to level up because you know you can really hold on this Weaver, much like they're trying to hold on that Windrunner down there. Looks like the Thunderclap Frostbite. They can still see her, and yep, the Tsukuchi runs out. One right click, one more, and yep, down it goes. Weaver does die really fast, and now down here it looks like Fisher Trap, not trap, but you know a nice stun over there. Sprint, Slithering Crush, Cold Feet. And I think the Kofi didn't plot because she got out of range, but I think he does have a couple of levels of bash on that Slardar. I'd have to check, you know, let's have a quick look actually. What is the Queen of Pain leveling? What's the Slithering God leveling? He has Slithering Crush level 3. And what level of sprint does he have? Let's have a quick look over because this is very interesting to see what their... He has level 2 of sprint, so he doesn't have bash. I don't know why he was stunned so long. Maybe ES actually casting Chant Totem perhaps, and it looks like that soldering is indeed finished on that ES. And you know, I guess it is a good item to it is a good choice to pick up 2 levels of sprint in this game because perhaps you'll be even getting maybe level 3 because there's a lot of very mobile heroes, especially if they're getting blinks and that sort of thing. So you want to really catch up to them and you don't want to really let them get away because it's right now Dota is all about the chasing metagame, and we'll be seeing you know a lot of that kind of action going on in this. It looks like Enigma's coming in. Maybe he's trying to get some support. Maybe he's just coming to pick up an item right now. Score is 2-1 in Neolution's favor. So Mith-Trust, you know, a slight disadvantage. They can still quite recover once they get level 6 on everybody. You know, level 6 on the critical heroes already, but you know, critically Windrunner is getting no farm. She's being headed. She's only 11-5. I have to say. And whereas over here, the Weaver is at 17-2. You know, much better farm on him, much better EXP. He's a whole level ahead of that Windrunner who doesn't even have boots yet. And you know, that's another thing about Weaver. He doesn't really need boots. I'm a little surprised that Mith-Trust let them pick up the Weaver, but you know, I guess they were more worried about you know Lycanthrope and you know a bunch of the other heroes that they banned. Shadow Demon as well. You know, is a very annoying support hero, but you know they let them get the AA. You know, Shadow Demon is bad enough, but AA is also pretty bad. And it looks like just the Astro Imprisonment spam on that. Quap is still going on. Looks like Windrunner is currently amplified damage. She should be a little careful. Where is the... Oh, no. ES is not here. And 37 and 18 on GG on that Slithering Guard. It's a pretty good farm. 0-4 on the AA, but he's still supporting like a champ. No items on him. Just 2 GG branches and a sub. Looks like the Slithering Guard is gonna... Yep, he's gonna finish up a Vanguard. You know, pretty good item progression on him as well. Destroyers is sitting at half HP, but 10 charges on that Magic Wand, so... He's pretty alright in terms of HP. He's not in danger of dying yet because he'll just pop that Magic Wand once he gets in a sticky situation. Oh, and I'm sorry I missed that kill up here. Oh, looks like Weaver actually turned around a gank on the opposing team. And with the support of the ES Fisher over there, and now he's just going to Tsukuchi and run out. But yeah, he got that CM, probably a Swarm and a couple of right clicks, especially with that Fisher support. Despite the fact they have all these heroes, they don't really have too many spells, especially once that CM goes on to hold that Weaver down. Now he's solving up. Panda was trying to, you know, juke out of the way. He doesn't even have a clap anymore. But, you know, he should have just ran back because Weaver was not going to turn on a right click him with that little HP. Enigma's going to come over here, and I think he was going to, you know, cast something, but he just stopped. He realized nothing's going to happen. Yep, he cast the Islands, he cast the Malphite, but we were just going to Tsukuchi out right now. He's out of range of the tower, and so now they can't see him, and most of the items are already dead. So that was the end of that engagement. Missed a little bit of the beginning, but you know, I caught the kill of it, so it's still alright, right? Looks like Winner is trying to throw down a little harass on that Slithering Guard. She's not in too much danger. It looks like Quap was trying to get a kill on the Destroyer, but he popped that Magic Wand and tricked her. You know, so he stole so much of her hint that, and she wasted so much of her mana that one Sandy's Eclipse took her down from killed her, you know, when she had a quarter HP. So good job by the Destroyer over there in mid. And yeah, call it. Haven't completely missed the kill yet. Anyways, looks like how much gold is that Enigma? Yeah, it looks like he is going to be rushing that Blink Dagger. He has a Soul Ring as well, so he's not too worried about mana. And you know, like I said, I'm a little bit worried about the the tankiness of the Scourge team. And it looks like Destroyer is. I wonder what he's going for. Is he going to go for Force Step? Is he going to go for BKB? I'd say BKB is a pretty good item of choice in this game. All they have really is an amp damage, but otherwise he can, you know, ignore the AA. He can ignore the ES, you know, if he gets a BKB, and as well, I think he should go. The Enigma should go for BKB as well, because it looks to me like Neolution, you know, considering the advantage that they've gained so far, are the ones who are going to be the aggressors against the Mith-Trust team. So BKB would be a great item of choice, and let that Windrunner possibly farm up and get a mechanism, you know, about the team. Looks like Enigma's TPing in just to help get some support on over here at mid, but you know, it's just going to be a couple of right-click harass, and you know, these guys are just going to back out. They don't want to overcommit and then feed a little bit to the enemy team. Anyways, it looks like now there's going to be a little bit of a break in the engagements, and we can talk a little bit more about what's going on. Looks like that Fisher's going to completely miss. A little bit of a field Fisher by Miggy. You know, sometimes it happens. It happens to all of us, especially to me. I suck at Earthshaker. And level 6 on that winner, 21 and 6 in terms of farm. That's really hurting. 28 and 6 on the Weaver, but he has 2 kills to top it all off. A double kill on the Panda and the CM. So good job by him. And looks like he's trying to go on the CM, but he's really low HP. And yeah, he's gonna turn around. Good job. Yeah, good choice. I mean, the CM's just gonna walk out of there. Maybe she's a little afraid that the ES might be coming around to get a kill, you know, a Fisher snipe off on her. He is kind of high level. He's level 5 right now, compared to the CM, who is only level. Oh, she's level 5 too. So not much of a difference between those two guys. And the Enigma is just farming it up in the jungle. It's mostly because this guy's been roaming. I mean, he's been in part of a lot of kills. He's helped out a lot. He actually was critical for that first blood at bot. So I have to say, ES is going to be a major a force to be reckoned with, and I hope Mith-Trust realizes this, and perhaps he'll be trying to take on the ES first in the fights that are coming, because you know this Weaver is really difficult to kill already. Looks like they're coming around for a major gank on him, but you know he realizes it, and he's just gonna run out of there because he saw them coming with this ward over here. You know, you can't really hide yourselves. You know, I wonder if they're gonna realize and counter it. You know, there's no more sentry wards though, so you know perhaps not. It's like Winner, you know, was having a really tough lane at bot, and she roam mid to try to possibly help out the Destroyer. You know, with the constant fight he's having going on with the Quap, who is actually gonna blink in to try to get a kill on him. She casts an ult and AA blasts on him as well as Shadow Strike. He's not gonna pop. He's really too high HP. Enigma TP's in. He's gonna cast a he casts a black hole after the Malphus, and now it was 2 right clicks and just 1 ultimate from that Destroyer, and with his constant Astral Imprisonment spam, you know, his int is probably, I don't know how much int he's sitting on right now. He's sitting at 55 plus 17, so his int is really high, and you know, he did quite a bit of damage to that Quap. You know, once again, like he dropped from quarter HP to nothing with that Sanity's Eclipse. And you know, once again, we're seeing why Lake is a really good player, man. You know, great farming potential and really great laning prowess. He really outlaned Tifa, and you know, he is no slouch in terms of you know, laning himself, which is why you know Neolution actually picked that Quap early on for him and actually devoted the mid lane and all his resources. And you know, I'm a little bit disappointed now. I think you know the item choices that Lake is making right now, I mean, they're good item choices. They're not bad item choices at all. Mechanism is by no means bad at all on the Destroyer, you know, especially with the high mana pool that he has. Looks like another a blast harass on him, but he's just gonna back out, you know, with a nice Astral Imprisonment spam, so he has plenty of time to even get some right click. I mean, some farm going on in mid before he has to back off that Quap. And you know, like I was saying, this mechanism item choice by the Destroyer, he's also, by the way, you know, it just says, you know, he's doing plus 79 pure damage around plus 80 pure damage for a right click, and you know that but mechanism choice is a little disappointing on the Destroyer, because you know the Windrunner is the one who should have gotten it, but she's just been being held down so hard. And while I'm talking about that, I missed a kill off on top where Weaver picked off a kill on the CM once again. Panda's ultimate, and decided to focus down the ES, and it looks like Weaver's gonna back off at this point. It's 3 versus 1, and you know, he is pretty good, but he can't handle that much. It looks like Quap is actually turning around, and now they might be actually going against Panda, but nope. It looks like he'll be fine. Yeah, they're not gonna. I wonder if Weaver can see them. The ward can see everything, but you know, this is like an honor guard hanging around that Panda, so nothing's gonna happen. Yeah, he's just gonna turn around. And so now that fight is over. You see, I mean, ES went down a 1-for-1 trade, and I guess Mith-Trust will take any trade they can get at this point. You know, since they are losing, you know, so hard. And so, like I was saying, you know, once again, let's get back to this mechanism item choice on the Destroyer. You know, he's been forced to get it because that Winner has been being held down so hard, and you know the team does need a mechanism, but you know that's gonna slow down his BKB, that's gonna slow down his other critical items, and you know, if the Windrunner had gotten it, or perhaps even the Enigma had gotten it, then he could have gotten, you know, some items that, you know, would have made him a much more powerful force to be reckoned with within a team fight. Now he's just gonna be using that mechanism, possibly lowering his mana if it doesn't trigger the essence, or you know, it is level 4, but still it's a little bit. Oh, it looks like CM was caught out by the Quap over here, who actually grabbed the Hazoon, and no, nice juke out. You know, she juked out the AAO's blast, and she juked out Blink from the Quap, and now she actually wanted up for a wow, look at that, a frostbite to stop that last attack, and now she's even gonna also did that much damage, and she wasted as much as time of that Quap as she possibly could. And you know, I have to say, good play by Triffy. You know, yeah, many props, and they're really putting a lot of focus on this mid over here from Mith-Trust. They're really trying to help out this destroyer. You know, they really don't want him to go down, but on the other hand, yep, looks like Slardar is linking in with the Slithering Crush, amplified damage. He actually casts a mechanism. Enigma blinks in himself, and with the Black Hole, Astro Imprisonment on the Quap, like 3 right clicks so far, 5 right clicks, and 6 right clicks with around plus 85 damage on the Destroyer, and down the Slardar went, and looks like he's going to be popping to that AA blast, but the ES, nope, actually Enigma's going to pop because he stuck around too long. CM looks like he's going to be walking out of here, no problem, as well as the ES. So it looks like AA got a nice double kill over there with that AA blast, and you know, a couple of those right clicks, and yeah, you know, like I said, you know, that if he had perhaps a force staff, maybe he could have gotten out of there, you know, before he got, you know, as soon as the blink came from. I mean, it's a little bit difficult to avoid that blink from the starter, even with the force staff, because it just comes in, and that was like a surprise blink. I'm pretty sure he had just picked out that blink target, he TP'd, and he went over there. Even with that ward over there, he wasn't, you know, this ward can, I think, see when the starter popped up over here, and then, you know, just he blinked, and then, you know, that was it. You know, that Slithering Crush casting animation is so fast that he didn't even have a chance to get out of there. It looks like Slardar is once again coming mid, and they're really putting their focus down on Lakers. You know, they realize that, you know, that's the character. If Mith-Trust is going to win this game, it's going to be on the back of that Destroyer. And yeah, they hang out over here. You know, there's no smoke. There's a Blink Dagger. He's almost finished with his treads as well. He has a Vanguard, so really tank. You saw it took quite a few right clicks from that Destroyer to take it on. I mean, then again, the Destroyer doesn't really have any int items, and you know, that once again, it's due to that, you know, crippling mechanism that he had to buy. It looks like Fisher, and now, yep, he blinks in, but Astro Imprisonment, so he dodges the Crush. Panda's over here, he blinks in, and he casts Clap, and now he's right-clicking on the AA, and he's going to go down with 2 hits from the Destroyer. And ES has been cycloned, but he's just another 2 right clicks from the Destroyer, and he went down as well. Because Panda's chasing down on the Quap, but yep, they're not going to turn. But Slardar stayed around too long, and he got Astro Imprisonment. Yeah, they're going to dive it. You know, there's going to be a Malefice right now. Yeah, there's the Malefice. There's a Shackle Trap for a mini stun, and 2, maybe 3. Yeah, it looks like his damage is going up. It took 3 right clicks and a Thunderclap, and down Slardar went now. Quap, I don't know why she blinked back in. She was trying to get that win runner, but that made us put her HP up too high to make her pop to all the Quap's nukes. And you know, she wasted the blink going from here to here, and you know, it's like pretty long cooldown on that blink for the Quap. You know, so I have to say, you know, she can't be as baller as anti-mage. You know, you make one mistake, blinking to an out of position area, and then you still have a chance at getting out. But Quap is just so low HP, so fragile that you know, if she makes one wrong blink, and you know, against this team, you know, they have enough DPS to take her down really quickly. And it looks like Windrunner is hanging out down here trying to defend the tower a little bit, but it looks like Weaver is going to be going after him, especially with that A ultimate. In fact, he might be going down. He's actually decided to, yeah, he kills the Swarm, and I wonder if the Weaver's going to keep following. No, but he probably changed his mind now that the Scourge, oh, they still aren't quite aware that the Scourge is indeed going for Roshan. I mean, even if they were, they couldn't really do anything for that, about it. And now that that's happening, I guess he's, yep, no, he's going with the Slithering Crush from the Slardar, and that Windrunner just popping. She's being owned really hard this game, and you know, I have to say, you know, on the other hand, the Weaver looks like he's going to be hard carrying for the Neolution side, because you know, he had a really great time up in his lane, you know, despite the fact that he was 2 versus 1 most of the time. Sometimes it was 2 versus 2 when ES came up there to throw down those long range support Fishers, and you know, make sure that he doesn't completely lose the lane. But now, I have to say, if you're just looking at the farm, he has 4 kills on him and 78 CS, and he's pretty close to the CS on that Destroyer, who also has 4 kills, but 3 assists and an Aegis now at this point. So, you know, the only thing that's really holding the Mith-Trust side inside the game is Lakers, and I think the Scourge team, I mean, the Sentinel team realized this, and, you know, they once again, I think they're going to gather on over here at mid and take down that Destroyer once more, perhaps. Get a couple more kills on him, which are actually quite necessary. And Looks like he's gonna slaughter, blink, crush, cold feet, and I wonder if he's gonna lose his Aegis actually because he wasn't too careful. But I'm sure he'll be getting out there. Yeah, they realize they can't really keep going. He's gonna be getting some support, and yeah, he's just gonna get out there no problem. Anyways, I wish somebody else had gotten that mechanism really, man. Enigma, and looks like he's going for BKB as well, which is a really good choice because that ES fish, those ES stuns, the slaughter stuns, there's a lot of stuns on the Sentinel side that can really just mess up that fissure really easily. I mean, mess up that black hole really easily, especially if that ES saves his fissure just for just such an occasion as Enigma, blinks in and catches somebody out of position. It looks like, what is ES going for right now? Is he going to be going for Arcane Boots? He usually does go for that, I think. Yeah, it looks like he might be going for Arcane Boots. He's still getting 600 gold. Still really no ward support duty on the ES. And it looks like there's going to be a major engagement over here at mid. Weaver is just harassing away the, pawned Windrunner who's sitting on just 2 No Talisman and Arcane Boots. And looks like they're going to see the Enigma over there cancel out his Blink, possibly. And yeah, the Swarm is going to cancel that Blink, so it won't be jumping on anybody for now until that Swarm is all dead. And Lucian is dead too. Panda's hanging out up here. He's waiting to blink his face boot as well. So and there's also a Brilliant Aura, so he's really not hurting too much for mana. She doesn't max it, so that's a good choice. You do need those nukes. You really need that Frostbite max as well against the lineup they're facing. Looks like they're smoked up, but I think they're smoked up right under this ward from the Neolution side. So Neolution has a ward over here too, so they definitely still have smoke up. And they have the Sentry ward, so they're not going to be jumping on the Neolution side out of nowhere. We won't be having some surprisingly owning team fights out of nowhere like the last one that we saw. And they allowed him to pick up that Roche, but then Lake is promptly just wasted his Aegis at that point. I think it would have been quite critical in the push that it looks like the Neolution side, the Mith-Trust side is gearing to conduct over here at mid. And nope, it looks like they realize that they can't really get anything done. They're backing up. The co-op is pushing the lane up there. The ES actually getting some free farm time down here. And I wonder how close he is to those Arcane Boots. Nope, he might be actually going for that Blink Dagger, in fact. And that is a good choice. You did get that Soul Ring, and your mana needs are mostly met right now. And looks like A is throwing down a blast up here just to put a little bit of harass on that poor Windrunner. Let's see if at the level on that AA, but he's level 9. He needs a little bit more EXP, and he'll have the critical level 11, and have the level 2 Ice Blast, which can really start to hurt against the Scourge team. And looks like Lakis is going to be getting some hint finally. He finished up with those treads. He's going to be getting a Force Staff, and I wonder if there's going to be a team fight going on. It looks like they're all just standing around, the Swarm just to stop the Enigma from blinking in and casting all those Blink Daggers. But Panda, made a good choice to hang out up here, but he can't really go in alone. He needs the Enigma, he needs a Destroyer to go in with him in order to, really hope for a successful gank. And, also to hope for to have that, Essence Aura on him so that he can, regen some of his mana, hopefully. And, since his item choices, they're not really giving him too much mana at all, especially without a high level of Brilliance Aura either. Looks like Lakis is now farming the bottom lane, and Weaver has come here to harass him. He has picked up a Lincoln Sphere, and that is going to help him against a lot of the single target stuns that the Scourge team has. Looks like A is throwing an Ice Blast, but that's going to miss. But it is going to get AA a couple of creep kills. And yeah, it looks like they're just hanging out over here, taking a little bit of a break. So let's have a quick look at the CS charts right now. ES is sitting at 1800 gold. He's almost at that Blink Dagger, about maybe 300 more gold, and 16 creep kills, 1, 2, and 6. So he's really supporting his team out. Level 9, level 11 on that Stardar, and looks like where is the AA going? I think that the Mith-Trust side have a ward over here, so you should be careful. Yeah, they can see him. He put up another ward over here, and they see that ward too. He wanted to counter that ward, but he got caught out. Blink from the Panda, and a clap, and just melted to that right click of that Destroyer. So a little bit more careful. Looks like Weaver's gonna come over here and pick up that ward. He should have been the choice to do it, but sometimes the carry can be busy. He doesn't really have time to go around warding and de-warding, and that's a little bit of a risk you play. I mean, it doesn't matter too much that the AA died over there. Somebody else might have died to that smoke gang. But since he was the only one readily available, the Scourge just jumped on him and took him out. And let's this is, again, there's a little bit of a break here. Perhaps let's have another look over here at the farm charts. 9 to 10 in the Mith-Trust favor now with that AA kill. But you know, critically, New Su is sitting at 104 creep kills. He's really catching up to that destroyer at this point, and looks like he's probably going to be going for a Radiant Snacks. He's finished his strategy as the Licking Spear as well. The Quap is also making the Licking Sphere. She's going to get 94 creep kills. She's going to start probably spiraling out of control in terms of her farm as well, now that, you know, she has enough mana to deal with, you know, she has enough regen to deal with her mana issues, and she'll be farming all over the map. And looks like there's going to be an engagement. Destroyers coming. I guess they want the Enigma to blink on this starter. Yep, there we go. Malefice, 2 right clicks, 3. Let's see. I like counting the right clicks. 140 pure damage. There was a miss over there. ES blinks in with an ultimate, and he's going to walk out 2. Asks Signy's Eclipse to take out the starter, and looks like Destroyer is not done yet. He just keeps chasing him, but then Weaver has come over there, Astral Imprisonment, to help himself survive a little bit and get his team into position, a long range pusher to cancel that black hole. Quap comes in with a Sonic Wave, takes out the CM and the Destroyer, and now the Weaver is chasing down on the Windrunner, who doesn't have a shot in hell and get away against a hasty Quap and a Weaver. So a couple of right clicks and he just melts. I think it was just like one right click from the Quap and one right click from the Weaver after that Swarm minus armor. After, you know, since it was on her so long that, you know, he just went down. So yeah, 13 to 13. The Mith-Trust side started out with a good you know, initial you know, barrage against it. You know, they cut that starter before he could do anything. But you know, that yes, you know, stayed alive too long. He just walked around to the side. I'm pretty sure he has his no, he died actually. I wonder who killed him actually. Let me think. Oh, I think the Panda probably came around and killed him. Yeah, I think the Panda got him. And didn't have his ultimate? This Panda. Look, he did have some, perhaps he just backed out of there. Or maybe somebody else did catch him out in the end. Maybe the Windrunner caught him out, yeah. I'm not sure. I didn't see who got the ES over there in the end. But he does have his dagger. He probably bought it right before he died, perhaps. And let's see, looks like the Sentinel team might be getting ready to jump on these guys up here. It's just, oh, Quap is really low HP, but she has that Lincoln Spear finish. She has a DD rune as well, and crit from that Panda really brought her HP low, but she probably regen enough. She's fine. Scourge team is getting ready to defend over here. They realize that perhaps the Sentinel team will be going for a push, and Starter is sprinting in. He's getting into position to support his team. He's also going for BKB. And see if this engagement is going to happen. Are they going to defend? The tower is almost down. Are they going to put up a fight? But the Sentinel team is hanging around all over this place. So the Sentinel team should be, the Scourge team should be a little bit careful. Looks like Pando's walking in. He's getting ready to do a blink clap. But you know, the Sentinel team, while they are all over this place, they are all over this place because they're not bunching up. They don't want to bunch up and be caught. It looks like CM is caught out over here. She's trying to get a D-ward off. It looks like that A-Blast is probably going to take her down. Panda blinks in, but he doesn't clap anybody, so now he's just walking out. And indeed, that CM will be going down to that. Looks like Destroyer is actually caught out over here. A Blink, Crush, Quap, Sonic Wave. Weaver is also coming in. Mechanism to bring his HP up. Enigma blinked in just in case to support with the Black Hole. And they're right-clicking him down. It looks like Weaver's going to chase him. He's going to go all the way in. Yep. Destroyer, Sandy's Eclipse, and a Power Shot and a couple of right clicks on that Shackle Shot at Weaver, and down he went. Looks like they're gonna go after that Slardar as well. And wow, and does he keep sprint? Does Dispel not work on sprint? I wouldn't know that, you know. Actually, it looks like he dispelled him, but he still has sprint on when he blinked. So that's actually kind of interesting to, you know. I would think that dispels all buffs, but I don't know. Maybe he blinked right before the dispel actually procced, and it was just the start of the animation at that point. And it looks like they de-warded the Mith-Trust ward that they had up there. So now, yep, the Neolution side really have a lot of command. Look at all these wards that they have. You know, they have a ward over here, they have a ward over here, a ward over here, and here. You know, they have some very offensive wards, and I have a lot of map control actually, and it's almost time. Yeah, the Roshan is back, so we'll be expecting to see Roche fights pretty soon, and I think this will be the critical deciding Roche fight, because Neolution is kind of, I mean, it says 15 to 14, but the score doesn't tell the whole tale at this point. And You know, it's just that they're so far ahead. Again, look at this long lane Weaver. He's sitting at 2,800 gold, 1k more, and he'll have a relic. And you know, you don't even necessarily need the radiance, because this damage from the relic that really helps out, because you're doing double damage when you do that, when that double attack procs. So I mean, that's way more important for the Weaver than the radiance damage necessarily is. So for the Weaver, it's more of a relic rush than it is for a radiance rush. And looks like there might be an engagement going on over here at mid, or maybe not, maybe just a lot of posturing, a lot of positioning going on between the two teams. So let's resume an examination of the farm charts right now. And let's look at the progress. Looks like ES is level 10. Critically, that CM is still, like, you know, one of the lowest levels of the game, only level 9. The AA is level 10 as well. He's working on his 4 staff, it appears. He has treads as well. And look at this CM. All she has is she's being forced by you know, like anti invis, you know, like she's being forced by true sight items to take care of that Weaver, but you know, they're not really getting many kills on that Weaver. We only have 2 kills on him, and you know, that's really you know, hurting her, you know, already meager gold resources. So she's only sitting on boots, whereas, you know, the Ace has treads, and he's also working on a 4 staff. So you know, it's terrible. Looks like Sarda's almost done with that BKB. Quap has a Lincoln Sphere, and now she's working on her Hex. And yeah, like I said, Weaver's working on that relic. Enigma has BKB, so I wonder what he's going to be going for next. Perhaps he should work on pipe, you know, maybe get some more survival so they can tank that Sonic Wave, tank the ES nukes, and you know, come out of that fight much healthier in terms of HP. Looks like the Windrunner has gotten a 4 staff as well as that Arcane Boots, but you know, she's just really hurting for farm, especially if you compare her to her opposing counterpart in that Weaver. So I mean, she's only level 13, and look at that level 18 Weaver. It's just, you know, side installs are very important, and you know, she would be contributing a lot more to her team if she hadn't, you know, died so much and you know, perhaps fed so much. And it looks like Panda is sitting on a Phase Booth, a Blink Dagger, and is he going for a BKB himself? I'm not sure. He has an Ogre Axe, so looks like he will be going for that BKB. Perhaps he's afraid of that chain stun from that ES, and you know, all those nukes that are coming his way. So it's not a bad choice at all on him either. I've seen Yapets go BKB on Panda as well a number of times, you know, just to make sure that he gets all his spells out, that he can, you know, participate in a team fight for quite a while. And it looks like CM, like I said, you know, really hurting her farm, almost no items and no farm. She's dying love, 1 in 5 on that CM. And Lakers, you know, just loading up the game, but you know, that mechanism purchase, I feel like, really hurt him. Looks like he almost has his BKB, and it looks like over here that the Scourge team will be going for a bit of a Roche fight right now, but I'm going to back off a little bit. You know, the Sentinel team has a lot of ways to, you know, keep sight of that Roche pit, you know, constant AA blast, constant swarm, maybe the Quap blinks around and checks, and you know, they have sight of that AA pit, the Roche pit a lot. But you know, on the other hand, all the Mith-Trust side has is a Nova and a Power Shot. You know, otherwise it's going to be a little bit difficult for them to keep an eye on there. And it looks like they're blinking in, and oh, that AA blast, they know that you know, they have checked it out. But I wonder if the Scourge side has enough DPS to take it on, especially with just 4 of them. You know, that Windrunner Focus Fire actually does a lot of DPS on that Roche. Let's say Quap suspects something is up, and she's actually walking in to check it out. And oh, yep, yeah, that Scream of Pain is gonna reveal it. Yep, and now she actually threw down her Sonic Wave and caught 3 heroes. And looks like Enigma has BKB'd as well. And mechanism has already been popped, and looks like we were chasing down on that destroyer. They realized that Lakers is up point here to kick down, as well as the Enigma, who went down first. Looks like he's going to be going down to the bugs, or he's going to be chased down by the Weaver. Let's see. Starter is also chasing down. The CM is going to be going down. They're waiting for the Panda to come out as ultimate at this point. He's trying to take down the Starter, but I don't think he's going to be able to. Windrunner is circling around over there. Power Shot's going to is gonna whiff on the Starter, and he's almost gonna go down. But AA Blast and, you know, Scream of Pain, and she's gonna take down the Windrunner as well. So you know, a 4 from nothing exchange in favor of the Neolution side. And now with that amplified damage, they're gonna take that Roche down really fast. Like, do you see how long the Mith-Trust side was hanging out over here? You know, they had the advantage in like A had Ascendance Blast, right? They had like maybe 30 seconds, right? They were sitting here over here for 30 seconds, and they only took down the Roche to about half HP. And once again, that's going back to that mechanism purchase on that the destroyer was forced to make, because the rest of his team had to get their other critical items, and the Windrunner just turned out to be feeding, and she wasn't very effective. And because of that, he had to buy the mechanism, and he doesn't have any damage items at this point. He's actually being forced to go to BKB. I mean, 4 staff and a couple of null talismans. He sold his null talismans actually in order to make that 4 staff. So all he has is treads and a 4 staff. And that's almost no int, man, and you're just gonna have a really tough time taking on the Roche pit. And you can see that. I mean, Destroyer, generally he can really quickly take down Roche by himself actually, sometimes if he has enough damage, but he had no damage. So, and if the Enigma had bought that mechanism, or if if the Windrunner had not died so much and been able to buy the mechanism herself, perhaps he could have gotten a BKB and not died critically in some of the fights, and gotten a couple more extra kills by by ignoring those stuns that were coming his way from the Neolution side. And now it looks like Urshik has bought a gem. I'm not quite sure why. There's not too much invis going on. Perhaps he's afraid, he wants to deward and gain even more map control for his side. Really keep the Mith-Trust side down. Look at that. They're really scared. They're hanging out in the base. They're scared to poke their head out. And even the the Destroyer really needs some farm. He's really scared to poke his head out too. Looks like Weaver has finished his Radiance critically by his now. He's at 172 CS. He's ahead of the Destroyer, who's really owning it up earlier on. And he's ahead in terms of kills. He's 9-2 in terms of kills. His Destroyer is only 7-4. So I have to say, just Weaver. He actually played very well, and perhaps the Mith-Trust side, what they could have done is perhaps like played safe around that winner. Maybe instead of that Enigma, they should have gotten somebody with more disables, like perhaps a Lion or somebody, to keep that Weaver down, and instead of depending so much on their team fight capabilities. Because when you're in a pro game, most people are really hard. They don't really gather up in order to be caught by that black hole. It looks like they see the Destroyer, they realize he's the one they had to take down. Yep, the Cloud Starter, BKB's blinks in, amplified damage, Slithering Crush, Swarm is down, ES blinks in, casts his ultimate, Enigma is casting his ultimate, but Quap is standing over here just right-clicking. Steam is trying to channel her ultimate, but is doing almost no damage. She's going to take down the ES, and Panda uses his ultimate, Cyclones up the Slardar, while Quap is trying to take down the Windrunner. She actually hexes him. Weaver is actually chasing down on the CM, and looks like, did Slardar die? Looks like, nope, Slardar did not die. Panda was not able to accomplish that. And in fact, he had the Aegis, I believe, right? Yeah, he had the Aegis and he just used it. So, I guess he accomplished at least that much. And but it's not really a big loss for the Neolution side. They got a couple of, they did a 3-for-1 exchange. Only the ES died. And now they're working on getting the tower. And, these guys should be a little bit careful. These guys can still kill them. They're still outnumbered. And don't poke your head out too far, man. Maybe just go. But it looks like, yeah, he's gonna be caught up by a blast hex from the Quap, Shadow Strike, Slithering Crush, a couple of right clicks, and he goes down as well. So it was actually a 4-for-1 exchange for the Neolution side, and they're just dominating this match. The 808 is actually dominating. He actually has a 4-staff and level 10 on SCM. So, yeah, man. Looks like Neolution is going to be handily taking this game. Oh, actually, the Aegis was on the Quap. They didn't even take down the Aegis. I'm sorry, I missed that. And, I wonder, are the Mith-Trust side just going to be like one rank down, play like normal? 160 pure damage coming out from the Destroyer, but at this point, I think a much more healthy amount of pure damage would be like around 250 or something like that. And that would really hurt the Scourge team, but, they have like so much HP. Right now they're kind of so tank. Now the Quap is actually going for an Ag stick as well. Weaver, he's probably gonna, looks like he's going for an SNY maybe, or no, he went for Manta. So yeah, actually, why does Weaver need SNY? That would be just a terrible item choice. And looks like the Sentinel team has decided to push down from bot, and we'll see. Yeah, the Scourge team, they're just gonna farm it up a little bit, push out this lane so that they can't come in through mid, and they're just camping out up here, hoping to catch somebody out of position, have his Slardar blink down, and maybe take down that Destroyer once again, and just end the game from there probably. your hands that radiance, canceling out all those blink daggers when he scooches up into the back lines. Six Starter's looking to blink. Yeah, he BKB's blinks. He catches the Destroyer and the Windrunner, and they go down with an ES blink and ultimate. CM just dies from a result of the, just the AoEs just going all over the place. She gets caught up and she dies. GG is called, and that was the end of the game. It's actually a pretty good game from both sides, despite the fact that, I think it was just like a couple of those critical team fights where, the Destroyer just keeps on dying right in the beginning of the team fight, like at the top of the Rax fight. Destroyer was the first one down before he could even do anything. He couldn't even cast a single spell. He just chain slammed to death, and still unable to finish that BKB. And like I said, it's just a couple of maybe perhaps not so what I would say, like, it'd be not the best laning choices by the Mith-Trust side. I think that partially contributed to the loss, and not the best item choices, I would say. Perhaps, and they were forcing those item choices, to be fair. And Enigma needs that BKB more than the Destroyer does, actually. Because if Enigma can blink and channel his ultimate, why would the Destroyer need a BKB as well? He doesn't really need it at that point. But yeah, I mean that was a problem though, because Enigma, despite the fact that he did get that BKB, he got it a little bit late, and by that time Destroyer was just out of form, and he didn't really have any damage items. Or even now, he's nowhere near any damage item, and Quap is sitting on a Hex and a Lincoln Spear, and he's working on his Axe Stick, and and that's just considering the Quap. We're not even considering the Slardar, we're not even really considering the Weaver, who is a winner in his counterpart. He's just like totally owned the game. So good game from the Mith-Trust side, good game on the Neolution side. It was very enjoyable to watch, but hopefully Mith-Trust has learned some things from this game, and we'll be seeing some better play from them next time. Thanks for watching, guys.